It's that time once again for HEW Entertainment Radio.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Hosted by Jonathan Clarke.
The beat! The man! You gotta beat the man! Woo!
Be sure to join us in the live chat room during the show.
Hulkamania is running wild like it's never ran before.
Call us on one of our request lines. If you live in the United States, call us at 1-641-985-7800, box number 3729280. If you're from Canada and would like to call us from 1-647-724-4194, box number 3729280. Long distance charges may apply in some areas.
I've been the World Heavyweight Champion 10 times.
Or you can always drop us a line at MySpace, myspace.com/HEW Entertainment.
And you will rest in peace.
Emailing us works for you too. Email us HEWWrestling@hotmail.com.
I am a wrestling god. JBL.
And now, without any further ado, here is your host of HEW Entertainment Radio on the official website of HEW Entertainment, Jonathan Clarke.
The champ is here!
Speaking to Madman Pondo, very well known in the independents and the professional wrestling industry. How are you doing, Madman?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. We're still alive over here anyway after 725 shows or something like that. But what have you been up to these days? What have you been up to?
Mostly been working for Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which is run by the Insane Clown Posse. And just about any independent show that'll say yes, you know, it's getting harder and harder with gas prices going up, and you know, promoters don't want to take chances. But at least I still got that JCW going.
Right, JCW. I had the opportunity to speak with Corporal Robinson before. Are you good friends with Corporal Robinson?
Of course, yeah.
Do you have a good story you could share between yourself and Corporal Robinson for the listening audience, or?
Yeah. Actually, there was a guy who I was supposed to wrestle for IWA Mid-South, and that guy went over the match, and it was him hitting me with everything, and then he started going into the finish. And then I said, no, that's not going to work, because this is IWA Mid-South, and they expect me to do some stuff too. So then I threw some of my stuff in there, and then he agreed to everything, and then I leave the locker room. When I come back, he's packing his bags, and he's leaving the locker room getting ready to go home. So I looked over at the promoter out of Mid-South, and I said, Corporal Robinson's right there. Why don't you just let me wrestle him? And that was the start of Corporal Robinson's hardcore hamburger forehead that he has today.
Oh, great stuff. Now, JCW has an event coming up in a few days. Actually, I spoke to Chris Knuckles a few days ago, and he was telling me a little bit about it. Are you going to be involved with that show? Or?
Yeah, I've been on every JCW show that they've had since they've started the pay-per-views, and me and the Necro Butchers are actually the Juggalo Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions right now.
Great stuff. Necro Butcher's a great person. Brittney, go ahead with a question.
Okay, what was your inspiration to get into the wrestling business?
When I was a kid, I wasn't a very good student in school. So there was this guy named Roy West Jr., and he would help kids out. It sounds like a big pedophile story, but that was not even close. Like, he would get some boys together who wasn't doing good in school, and he would give them, prizes if they would do good. And a lot of the prizes, because he was a big wrestling fan, he would take us around to, I lived in Flora, Illinois, so 1 hour and a half to the east, to the west of me was St. Louis, Missouri, and they had wrestling at the Chase. 1 hour to the south of me was ICW, and they had independent shows, but mostly they had ICW, which was ran by Angelo Poffo all around that area, with Macho Man and Lanny Poffo. Then an hour and a half to the east was Evansville, Indiana, and that had CWA at the time, which became USWA, but they had like Jerry the King Lawler and the Moondogs and Bill Dundee and the Sheepherders was there, and I'll get back to the Sheepherders here in a second. 5 hours in Chicago was, where everything was. I mean, if it was a promotion mainstay, then it was there. They had World Class would fly in there. UIC Pavilion, I'd go to the WCW shows, which actually, one of the WCW shows that I went to was Night of the Skywalkers in Chicago. I was a kid walking in there looking at the big scaffold thinking somebody was going to die. I went to Super Clash 3 in Chicago. But your question was, what was my inspiration? And mostly it was the Sheepherders, which became the Bushwhackers. And I don't really claim the Bushwhackers, but if you guys remember back when the Sheepherders was just bloody and people left and right, that was pretty much my inspiration there.
What do you think about the ruling, be it that you're from JCW, that WWE has passed now where they clean up the competitors if a competitor bleeds during a match? Do you agree with that, or do you think that's stupid?
I'm having trouble hearing you, bro. What did you say? I got an ear infection, I'm sorry. What did you say?
No problem. We will bear with it. How do you feel about WWE having a policy now where they clean up the competitor if he bleeds during a match?
They clean up see, I don't watch WWE, and I don't even watch TNA, so I don't even know what's going on there, but you're saying during the match if a competitor bleeds, they clean it up real quick?
Yeah, they do, and I was just wondering what your general opinion is on that.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, I was going wrestling back in the day, and one of the big sellers back then was when a guy would bleed, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every match would have blood in it, but some of my big guys back in the day, like the Sheik, Abdullah the Butcher, of course, Bruiser Brody, and Macho Man was bleeding every week, and, I mean, you got to admit, back in the day, when the guys would get their heads split open, that was the big seller for a lot of people back then, and for Vince McMahon to try to say that that's wrong, I mean, to me, that's going against the grain.
Right. Who's the best match you had the opportunity to work with? Who's been your toughest competitor, your most memorable match, I should say?
My most memorable match was winning the JCW title off of Terry Funk, because Terry Funk's a class act, and when they asked him if he would do that, he was like, sure, and he wrote about me in his book, and, I would have to say Terry Funk.
Terry Funk, I had the privilege of speaking to him for a half an hour here on AGW. He was very classy, very respectful.
Right.
Great guy. And Brittney, go ahead with a question.
All right. If you could have one match with anyone that you've seen in WWE, like from the past or present, who would you pick to tag team with, and who would you fight with?
If I had a single match, of course, it would be Mick Foley. And then I think this would constitute today because they put him in the Hall of Fame, which he never was on there as far as I know. But I think a tag match of me and Abdullah the Butcher versus Mick Foley and Terry Funk would be a fun thing to do.
That would be a great match. Shawn Michaels is going in the Hall of Fame. Do you think that's great, or?
Like I said, I don't watch WWE, but when I was watching WWE, I ain't gonna lie, when DX was doing their funny things, I would always go to YouTube and watch that. And of course, Shawn Michaels, he even when I was watching wrestling, he's a expert in the field, you know. I mean, he's got the bumps down where he's supposed to be. He's good on the mic. He's a handsome guy. So I don't see why he shouldn't be in any Hall of Fame anywhere.
Great stuff. What's one piece of advice you can give to anybody who wants to get into this business? Would you recommend it to anybody, or would you recommend for them to stay away from it?
Here is my advice for anybody planning on getting into wrestling. If you're planning on getting into wrestling because you think we make a lot of money, let me go ahead and tell you you're getting into it for the very wrong reason. Second piece of advice I would say is if you are going to get into wrestling and you go to Joe Bob's wrestling school, that's not going to help you. You can give Joe Bob all the money that you want, and Joe Bob can show you everything that he knows. And he might be the best teacher in the world, but then when you go to other and say, hey, who trained you? And you